If you're looking for more growth than a traditional S&P 500 fund, chances are you've come across VGT, QQQM, and XLK. First glance, they look almost identical. They all own many of the same household names, companies like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Broadcom, and they've all delivered impressive long-term returns. So it's easy to assume they're basically interchangeable, but that's exactly where many investors make a costly mistake. Despite sharing many of the same top holdings, these ETFs are built very differently, and those differences can have a meaningful impact on your portfolio over time. Today we're putting VGT, QQQM, and XLK head-to-head to see how they compare in the areas that actually matter: diversification, concentration, historical performance, costs, risk, and overall strategy. By the end of this video, you'll understand what makes each ETF unique, how they compare, and I'll tell you which one I'd personally buy and why. Hi, I'm Greg Hardy, and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for being here. We cover all things personal finance, investing, and building a secure financial future. So if you're serious about taking control of your money and also learning something new every week, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It really helps the channel and gets this information to more people who need it. Thank you. Let's start with VGT. VGT is a pure technology ETF that invests in hundreds of US technology companies, giving you broad exposure across the sector. While it still has significant positions in giants like Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia, it also owns many smaller technology companies, making it the most diversified of the three when it comes to technology exposure. QQQM takes a different approach. Rather than tracking only technology companies, it follows the NASDAQ 100 index, which includes many of the largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ. That means you still get heavy exposure to technology leaders, but you also own companies in sectors like communication services and consumer discretionary. It's better described as a large cap growth ETF than a pure technology fund. Finally, there's XLK. Like VGT, XLK focuses on the technology sector, but it's built very differently. Instead of owning hundreds of companies, XLK holds only a select group of large cap tech stocks, with a significant percentage of the fund concentrated in just a handful of names. That concentration can amplify both gains and losses, making it a very different investment despite many of its top holdings looking familiar. Let's start off by looking at what's actually inside each ETF, because this is where the biggest differences begin to emerge. At first glance, all three appear to own the same companies. Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Broadcom, and a few other mega cap names dominate each fund. But once you look beyond those top holdings, their portfolios start to separate in meaningful ways. VGT owns hundreds of technology companies. QQQM holds the 100 largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ. And XLK takes the most concentrated approach with only a select group of large cap tech stocks. That difference becomes even more noticeable when you look at concentration. VGT spreads your investment across a much larger number of companies, reducing the impact that any single holding has on your portfolio. QQQM is more concentrated because it only owns around 100 companies, but it still provides exposure to businesses outside the technology sector. XLK, on the other hand, is by far the most concentrated of the three. A significant percentage of the fund is invested in just a handful of mega-cap tech companies, meaning the performances of stocks like Nvidia and Apple can have an outsized impact on your returns. And then there's sector exposure, which is where many investors are surprised. VGT and XLK are both true technology ETFs, with nearly all of their assets invested in the technology sector. QQQM is different. While technology makes up the largest portion of the fund, it also owns companies in communication services, consumer discretionary, healthcare, industrials, and other sectors. So despite often being grouped with technology ETFs, QQQM is really a diversified large cap growth fund with a heavy technology tilt. If your goal is pure technology exposure, these three ETFs are not nearly as similar as they first appear. Now let's look at the numbers that probably brought many of you to this video in the first place: performance. We'll compare each ETF over the past 1, 3, 5, and 10 years where data is available to see how they've stacked up over different market environments. Looking at multiple time periods is important because a fund that leads over 1 year may not be the strongest performer over a decade, and a single hot streak doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. As you'll see, all three ETFs have delivered impressive long-term returns, but they've done so in different ways. Some have benefited from holding a broader collection of technology companies, while others have been driven by a handful of mega-cap stocks. Did an ETF steadily outperform over time, or was most of the success concentrated in just a few exceptional years? Those differences can help set realistic expectations for what you might experience as an investor going forward. But before you decide that the ETF with the highest return is automatically the best choice, there's another side of the equation we need to consider: risk. Every investment comes with trade-offs, and higher returns are often accompanied by greater volatility and deeper declines during market corrections. That's why our next step isn't just asking which ETF made the most money. It's asking how much risk investors had to take to earn those returns. Performance tends to get all the attention, but there's another factor that can quietly influence your returns over time: cost. The good news is that all three of these ETFs are relatively inexpensive, especially compared to actively managed funds. Still, even small differences in expense ratios can add up over the course of decades, particularly as your portfolio grows. While cost alone shouldn't determine your investment decision, it's certainly worth considering when comparing funds that appear similar on the surface. Beyond expenses, it's also important to look at trading volume, assets under management, and liquidity. High trading volume generally means it's easier to buy and sell shares efficiently, while larger asset bases can provide additional stability and lower the likelihood of a fund being closed or merged. Fortunately, all three of these ETFs score well in these areas, so for the average long-term investor, liquidity is unlikely to be a deciding factor. However, it's still useful to understand these metrics because they paint a more complete picture of the overall quality and popularity of each fund. But before you can decide which ETF belongs in your portfolio, there's one more factor we need to consider, and it's one that many investors completely overlook, and that is portfolio overlap. Two ETFs can have different names, different indexes, and different strategies, yet still own many of the exact same companies. If you don't understand that overlap, you may think you're diversifying your portfolio when you're really just increasing your exposure to the same handful of stocks. One of the biggest mistakes I see investors make isn't choosing a bad ETF. It's unknowingly buying several ETFs that own many of the same companies. That's why overlap matters. At first glance, VGT, QQQM, and XLK may seem like they offer diversification simply because they're different funds, but once we compare their holdings, we'll see just how much they have in common and whether owning more than one of them actually gives you additional diversification or simply increases your exposure to the same mega cap stocks. Let's start with QQQM and VGT, because both funds have significant positions in companies like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Broadcom, and other technology leaders. Many investors assume they complement each other, but does adding one to the other actually increase your diversification, or are you just buying more of the same companies under a different ticker symbol? We'll also compare VGT and XLK, which at first glance seem like they should be different simply because they track different indexes. The reality, however, may surprise you. The goal here isn't to tell you that overlap is always bad. In some cases, intentionally overweighting your highest conviction companies can make perfect sense. The key is understanding when you're making that decision on purpose versus when it's happening by accident. And once you understand that overlap, choosing between these ETFs becomes much easier. By now, you've probably realized there isn't one ETF that's objectively superior to the others. Each one was built with a different purpose in mind, and each excels in different areas. That's why comparing them isn't about finding a universal winner. It's about understanding which one best aligns with your investment goals, risk tolerance, and long-term strategy. If broad technology diversification is your priority, VGT stands out thanks to its hundreds of holdings across the technology sector. If you're looking for concentrated exposure to the industry's biggest names, XLK offers exactly that. And if you want a fund that combines technology leaders with other innovative growth companies across multiple sectors, QQQM provides a more diversified large cap growth approach. None of these strategies is inherently better than the other, they're simply designed for different types of investors. So now that we've looked at the strengths of each ETF, it's time for the question you've probably been waiting for since the beginning of this video. If I could only choose one of these three ETFs for my own portfolio, which one would it be? Here's the one I'd personally buy, and more importantly, why. So here's my answer. If I could only own one of these ETFs today, it would be QQQM. That doesn't mean that it's objectively the best fund, and it certainly doesn't mean that the other two are poor investments. It simply offers the balance I'm personally looking for. It provides exposure to many of the world's most innovative companies while also extending beyond pure tech into areas like communication services and consumer discretionary. For my investing style, I like having that broader growth exposure instead of concentrating everything in a single sector. If your goal is to maximize technology exposure and you want the broadest collection of technology companies possible, VGT may be the better fit. If you're comfortable with an even more concentrated portfolio built around the largest tech leaders, XLK could make a lot of sense. Neither approach is wrong. They're simply designed with different objectives in mind. That's why it's so important to understand what you're buying instead of choosing an ETF based solely on recent performance. One final thought before we wrap up. 10 years from now, I don't think your biggest investing regret will be choosing VGT instead of QQQM or XLK. It'll be not investing consistently, selling during a bear market, or constantly jumping from one strategy to another. Those decisions have a much bigger impact on your wealth than choosing between 3 excellent ETFs. One thing I've learned after years of investing is that the ETF you choose is rarely what determines your success. Your behavior as an investor does. The best portfolio in the world won't help if you panic during a bear market, stop investing when headlines get scary, or constantly jump from one strategy to another. One of the biggest benefits of understanding what you own is confidence. When you know exactly why you bought an ETF and how it fits into your strategy, you're far less likely to panic when markets become volatile. And confidence doesn't come from owning the perfect investment. It comes from understanding the investment you own. And in my experience, that confidence can make all the difference over the long run. Now, I'd love to hear from you. When this video started, which ETF were you planning to buy? And after seeing all 3 side by side, did your answer change? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious how many of you changed your mind. Now, if you found this video eye-opening, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. And if you want more practical, no-nonsense advice on building wealth and securing your financial future, then check out this video here. And also, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.